Alex, I've spent 30 years convincing wood to stay flat and metal to stay square. But there is a specific kind of madness that only happens when you try to wrap a soft, squishy thing around a hard, wooden thing.
Is this you admitting that fabric is your kryptonite? Because I remember that simple ottoman you tried to redo last spring.
We don't talk about the Great Ottoman Incident. I ended up with enough staples in my shop apron to build a bridge. But here's the thing. Nobody tells you about upholstery. It's 10% sewing and 90% engineering. Most woodworkers treat a cushion like an afterthought, like they're just gift wrapping a box. But if you don't understand the deck, the foundation, you're basically just building a very expensive trampoline that's going to fail in 6 months.
Okay, wait, hold on. The deck. You're already using the jargon. For those of us who haven't spent 5,000 staples on a wingback, what are we actually talking about when we say upholstery? Because to me, it just looks like foam and pretty fabric.
That's what the big furniture stores want you to think. Think of it like a house. The wooden frame, the part we woodworkers love, that's the foundation. But the deck is the flooring system. In a traditional piece, you've got jute webbing stretched tight, then you've got springs, then burlap, then padding, and then the fabric. If you just slap some foam on a piece of plywood and staple a curtain over it, let's just say I paid tuition on that lesson back in the 90s. I made a dining chair for my mother-in-law. 2 months later, it sounded like a dying accordion every time someone sat for dinner.
Nothing says I love my mother-in-law like a musical chair. But seriously, is it really that complex for a beginner? If I've got a tired-looking chair from a thrift store, do I need to learn 18th century spring tying just to make it sittable?
Not at all. And that's what I wish someone had told me. Start with a drop-in seat. Like on a craftsman-style chair or a standard dining room seat where the upholstered part is just a separate frame that drops into the main chair. That is the gateway drug of upholstery. What the old-timers know but don't share is that you can actually skip the complex springs if you use the right combination of zigzag springs or S-springs. They're like long, wavy pieces of steel. You clip them to the frame, and suddenly you have a sprung foundation without needing a degree in knot tying.
Okay, but what about the squish factor? I've seen people use everything from old towels to that green foam you find at craft stores that smells like a chemical factory.
Don't get me started on the green foam. What they don't put in the manual, and certainly what's missing from those 60-second Instagram makeover videos, is layering. You want a high-density foam for the base, maybe 2 inches, and then you wrap that in something called Dacron. It's a polyester batting.
Why the batting? Is it just for softness?
It's for loft. It fills out the fabric. Without Dacron, your fabric will look wrinkled and loose. It's like a well-tailored suit. The padding underneath is what makes the lines look sharp. If you skip the Dacron, your chair is going to look like it's wearing a t-shirt 3 sizes too big. Ask me how I know.
I can see the visual. So we've got our frame, our S-springs, high-density foam, and the miracle Dacron. Now we get to the part that scares me, the corners. How do you get those crisp, professional hospital corners without it looking like a bunched-up mess?
This is where people panic. They start stapling like they're in an action movie. But nobody warns you about this. The secret isn't the staple gun, it's the centering pull. You put one staple in the middle of each side, north, south, east, west, just to get the tension. Then you work from the center out.
Like tightening lug nuts on a tire?
Exactly. If you start at a corner and wrap around, the fabric will walk on you. By the time you get to the last corner, you'll have 4 inches of fabric bunched up, and you'll be questioning your life choices. For the corners, you want a butterfly fold. You trim the excess meat, the foam and batting, back from the corner of the wood, so you aren't trying to fold through 3 inches of fluff. Then you pull the point of the fabric over the corner, staple it, and fold the 2 ears in. It's like wrapping a very heavy, very expensive birthday present.
Trim the excess meat. That's going to be my new band name. But wait, what if I'm using leather? Or that heavy vinyl? You can't exactly fold that the same way, can you?
Leather is a whole different beast. Leather had a life before it was your chair. It has gave in some directions and is stiff as a board in others. What the YouTube tutorials leave out is that you often have to use a heat gun or a hairdryer to get leather to relax into a curve. And for heaven's sake, don't use your good woodworking glue on it.
Please tell me you didn't try to wood glue a leather chair.
I didn't say I did, I just said, don't. Let's just say I paid tuition on that lesson. Contact cement is your friend there, but use it sparingly.
Okay, let's talk about the nightmare scenario. Pattern matching. Look at this chair. The lines on the seat match the lines on the back. How much math is involved here, Tiger? Because you know I don't do math on weekends.
It's not math, it's waste. That's the hard truth. If you want a pattern to match, you have to buy about 20% more fabric than the chair actually needs. You have to find your vertical repeat, where the pattern starts over, and align the centers.
That sounds expensive.
It is, which is why I always tell beginners, start with a solid or a distressed look. Don't start with a grid or a stripe. If your stripe is off by even an eighth of an inch, your eye will find it immediately. It'll be the only thing you see for the rest of your life. Every time you sit down to watch TV, that one crooked stripe is going to be screaming at you.
I can feel the neuroticism from here, the scream of the crooked stripe. So, what about tools? I see you have this terrifying-looking curved needle. Are we actually going to have to sew by hand?
Occasionally, that's for blind stitching. It's a magic trick. You use it to close up a seam from the outside so the thread stays hidden. But for the most part, a woodworker's sewing machine is a pneumatic staple gun. If you're serious, skip the hand squeezer staple gun you use for Christmas lights. Get a small upholstery stapler that runs off your compressor.
Why? More power, more tally-ho?
It's about the nose. An upholstery stapler has a long, skinny nose that fits into the tight crevices of a chair frame. A regular staple gun is too fat. It can't get where the fabric needs to go. I spent years fighting with the standard T50 stapler until an old-timer in an upholstery shop saw me struggling and just shook his head. He handed me a long-nosed pneumatic gun and said, "Stop trying to drive a nail with a rock."
Valuable life advice in general. So, what's the one thing that ruins a project? The shop disaster of the upholstery world?
Not checking for staples before you cut. You've got your favorite pair of $80 Ginger shears, the kind that can cut through silk like butter. You're trimming the excess from an old chair, you're in the zone, and snap. You hit a 30-year-old steel staple hidden in the Hessian. You just turned your precision tool into a very expensive paperweight. Now I use a pair of cheap sacrificial scissors for the demo phase.
The demo phase. That's actually a good point. Tearing down an old chair is gross, right? It's not just sawdust and wood shavings.
It is a journey through time, Alex. I once opened up a Victorian-era settee and found horsehair, straw, and, I kid you not, a newspaper from 1894. But usually, you just find 40 years of pet dander and lost change. What nobody warns you about is the black dust. Old foam doesn't stay foam. It turns into this fine, sticky black powder that gets into your lungs and your pores.
Hard pass.
Wear a mask during the teardown, always. And take photos. Every time you pull a piece of fabric off, take a photo of how it was folded. Modern upholstery is a puzzle. The guy who put it together 30 years ago had a reason for every fold. Don't assume you can figure it out once the pieces are in a pile on the floor.
That's a pro tip for basically everything in life. Take a photo before you break it.
Exactly. And once it's apart, look at the frame. This is where we woodworkers get to shine. Most production chairs are held together with staples and prayers. While the fabric is off, that's your chance to reglue the joints, add some corner blocks, and actually make it a piece of furniture again.
So, overall, is it worth it? Or should we just keep making beautiful wooden benches and let people buy their own cushions at the big box store?
It's the difference between a house and a home. You can make a beautiful wooden chair, but the upholstery is the part that hugs the person sitting in it. There's a deep, quiet satisfaction in knowing that the spring tension is perfect, the dacron is smooth, and the fabric is tight. It's a bridge between the hard and the soft. It's messy, it's frustrating, and you'll definitely bleed at least once when a staple puller slips.
There it is, the blood sacrifice.
It's required by the guild, but when you sit in it, really sit in it, and you don't hear a squeak, and the support is exactly where it needs to be, it's a win.
All right, I'm sold. I might start with a footstool, though. No curves, no stripes, just a very, very flat square.
Good man, just stay away from the green foam.
Noted.
Here's the final takeaway. The thing I wish someone had told me. Upholstery isn't about the fabric, it's about the tension. Whether you're working with wood, metal, or cloth, you're just managing forces. Master the tension, and the beauty follows.
Deep, Tiger. Very deep. Now, can we go get some coffee? I think I have black dust in my soul just hearing about that old foam.
Coffee's on me. Just check your cup for sawdust first.